Buenos dias. Good morning, everybody. I'm coming live this morning with Pink. I got my girl with me. Everybody say hello. Say hey, Pink. Good morning, Angelique. Good morning, sis. How's it going? How's everybody doing this morning? I hope you're having a beautiful day. Add as moderator. Got you. Good morning, good morning. I've got my girl with me this morning. I just couldn't leave her behind. I've been away from her so much, and I thought, you know what? I'm gonna bring her on. She's so cute. We all love to look at her. How you guys doing this morning? Happy Wednesday. Happy Wednesday. When you jump on, say hello. Romy Marlowe here, coming live to you for Uncommon Ministry, which is a faith ministry for uncommon women and men, but mostly women. I'm not crazy about my lipstick is a little bit too dark this morning. So I brought everybody, this is Pink. Pink, say good morning. Everybody say good morning to Pink. Pink is I got her in 2014. And I think she was about a year old when I got her. So she's about 13 years old. She looks bigger than she is. She's 7 pounds. When I travel, I give her to my dad right now. Yeah. When I travel, she stays with my dad. But she's been having some accidents, which happens, right, when they get older. But she's my little girl, and she's just getting old, aren't we all? Even though I don't feel old. Let me just say right now, good morning, Alita. I do not feel old. I feel young. I do. But I also realize that here, maybe I'll take my hat off. There's a lot happening here this morning. That's better. I'm gonna get hot. Okay. So anyway, I'm bringing her with me this morning because I've been away from her a lot lately. Isn't she cute? You guys want to see her? Want me to take her out? Who loves dogs? We love our little girl. So this is Pink. She's just my little girl. So she's a rescue. I got her in 2014. I still owned my gym at the time. And I had another dog, and my other dog was grieving because my other dog I had to put my other dog down. And so I needed a second. I called the vet, and the vet said, oh, you definitely need to get another dog, or you have to play with her all the time because she's grieving. Did you guys know that dogs really grieve? Really grieve. And so I started looking for a dog, and I wanted a small one. And so I looked on all of those adopt-a-pet sites. Isn't she the cutest thing? Hi, sweetie. She's my little girl. And I looked on all those adopt-a-pet sites, but they were all big dogs, and I wanted a small one. And then all of a sudden, out of nowhere, this little Chihuahua wearing a pink jacket with white fur around it. Oh, I see that filter still on Instagram. I'll have to fix that. With white fur, a pink jacket with white fur. She was wearing it in the picture. And I sent them a message, and I said, oh, good morning, Shay. Isn't she? Hi, Nails. Nails by your girl, Mirabelle. Hi, Nails by your girl, Mirabelle. Welcome to all the new people who are here today. So anyway, long story short, she had on like a pink winter jacket with white fur around the hood. And my favorite color is pink. And I was like, oh my gosh. So I sent them a message, and I said, I want that dog. But you guys, you know what? Here's the story. Is what's so crazy is that she was already spoken for. And so they said, she's got somebody coming to look at her, and they're probably going to take her. And I'm one of those people who decides like she's mine, and I had taken a picture and put her on my phone and told everybody that I was adopting this dog. And then when I find out that she was already spoken for, I was so sad. And I said, okay, if anything changes, call me. And the people were supposed to go visit her like that night, and I didn't hear from them, and I didn't hear from them. And so then the next day or a day, maybe a few days after, I phoned them and I said, hi, I'm just calling about that little Chihuahua because, you know, how did the visit go? And they said, oh, the people couldn't come because somebody died in the family. I was like, what? You guys were supposed to call me. She said, oh, I'm sorry, we're so busy. So I actually said, I'll take her. And within 24 hours, she was on my doorstep. They had driven from a place called Kenora, which is about, I think about 6 hours from here. They drove her here overnight, and I had her the next day in a little carrier and everything. So a lot of people like to ask me how, like, where she got her name from. I actually didn't name her. I know, because when I used to wear my hair like Pink, the singer, like I used to have for years and years and years. Like my hair's just recently grown out, but for about 10 years, I had Pink's hair. So it was kind of like, you know, long on the top and short on the side. So everybody thought I named her Pink, but actually I didn't. Her name was Pinky, for Pinky and the Brain. Do you guys remember Pinky and the Brain? The cartoon? I was never a fan. But anyway, don't worry, she likes it when I hold her like this. Pinky and the Brain. And I didn't like the name Pinky. I thought it made her sound stupid because I like strong female names. So I took the Y off and I named her Pink. And of course it's perfect because my favorite color is pink. And I love Pink, the singer. And she's a little bit of a situation, this one. She's pretty cheeky. Anyway, do you love her? Put some hearts in the comments if you love her. Anyway, I'm gonna put her back in her bag. So I have a bag for her that she loves. And whenever I get ready and I say, okay, come on, get in your bag, she jumps in the bag. It's so cute. But she does resemble Pinky, right? Anyway, so I do tend to bounce when I have her in here, so I'm sorry if I do that. It's like a maternal thing, but she really likes it. Good morning, Joanne Price Day. How you doing? Anyway, so I thought I would bring her this morning because I was gone away from her for quite some time. And I'm gonna be gone next week as well. So during, oh yeah, by the way, you guys, for Canada Day, which is July 1st, there will be no call, and I don't even know what day that is. And then July 4th is a Saturday, so we don't have to worry about that. But I'm just giving everybody a heads up ahead of time that I'm gonna be traveling on July 1st, which is I think next Wednesday. I'm going to see my love. I'm actually spending Canada Day and the July 4th weekend in the US of A. Okay, so I'm just giving you guys a heads up now. She is like a little baby. She is like a little baby. And normally if I get her really cozy, she'll sleep. Okay, anyway, so I wanted to bring her with you. Put a heart in the comments if you're a dog lover. July 1st is your daughter's birthday, Chloe. I love that. Yeah, 1 week today. Okay, so there will be no call next Wednesday. And for my Uncommon hosts, I hope that you guys enjoy your day, right? Okay, so I wanted to move on from yesterday. So first of all, thank you to my Uncommon hosts for being so flexible. We were supposed to have a meeting this morning, but too many people were not gonna be available. So we've moved it. And I just love how my team is so flexy. And we're just going with the flow. We're just going with the flow over here. I like when my entire team is together. From Ghana, hello from Ghana. You're a big dog lover, me too. You guys, do you have dogs? If you have dogs, good morning, Juanita. Good morning, Myrna. Good morning, Trini. Good morning, Babe Angel. If you have a dog or dogs, put the kind of dog or dogs that you have in the comments. Okay, let's just celebrate our fur babies for a minute because they're pretty fantastic, right? I can't even imagine my life without my dogs. I actually can't. Well, my dog. I've always had dogs and I've often had two, but right now I have, oh, you have a Chiweenie. Okay, so you guys, the kinds of dogs, while we're talking about dogs, I've had a mini Pom Yorkie. Ever cute. So that's a Pomeranian and a Yorkie mix, right? Mixes are so cute, honestly, especially the little ones. They're hilarious. So I've had Spaniels, and we always, by the way, BTW in my family, we always adopt the dogs that nobody wants. I am really a proponent of adopt, don't shop. Now, I don't criticize people who buy purebred, because there are people, like my partner, he has 2 Berners and he loves them. And they're full purebred. He had to like go out of the state to get them and blah, blah, blah. But I'm one of those people that adopts the dogs that nobody wants, okay? So my family has had Spaniels, we've had a Husky, and these are all like adopted dogs. I've had kind of like a black lab cross. Her name was Georgia Rose. I had, oh my gosh, like a poodle, but she wasn't a poodle. Raindrop, those of you who've been around me for a long time know that I had a dog named Raindrop for years and years, and she's the one that I bought her for. And I've had Pink. I've had all kinds of dogs. We need to share our pet pics in the Uncommon Woman group. Yes, absolutely, absolutely. I love dogs so much. And my dad got a dog last September because it's so good for those of you who are grieving or you have a broken heart. A dog is so amazing. So we really wanted my dad to get a dog, and he didn't want the responsibility right away, but he got Bella last September. So it was basically a year after my mom died. And he said to me, this dog has changed my life. Isn't that beautiful? Because they're like partners. They're friends. They're with us all the time. We can talk to them. We feed them. They snuggle. I mean, they're just so healing. Yes, I love adoptions. Well, that's what we did with our cats. Oh, my son has a kennel and he raises Walker Coonhounds. Oh, wow. I love it. Confirming my idea I just had for a post in the sisterhood. Ooh, this is so good, you guys. Okay, so we love our dogs, and I'm gonna have Pink with me, and hopefully it won't bother you too much. All right, so I wanted to get into the word and into the message for the day. So for those of you who are new to this community, my name is Romy Marlowe, and I launched a platform called Uncommon Woman back in 2015 as an empowerment platform for women. I'm lighting my candle, and through Uncommon Woman, I built a really huge community of women who were seeking to heal, seeking to grow, seeking to rise, seeking to build businesses, seeking to build sisterhood, just women who were seeking a better life, seeking to transform their lives. And then I had that platform as the Uncommon Woman for 10 years. And then this past year, I decided to give it a full rebrand. Good morning, everybody. Thanks for joining. And I decided to incorporate my faith journey into the platform. So it is now Uncommon Woman. We just took off we gave it a brand new logo, brand new look. And I am building a community called Uncommon Woman Sisterhood for women of faith. Women who want to walk alongside other women of faith. Because when I was on my faith journey, I felt quite alone until I went to Atlanta, Georgia last year, and everything changed for me. But really, I didn't have a community of women around me who were believers. And it's really difficult when you have a strong faith, or when you're on a faith journey or any kind of journey, even a health journey, and you don't have anybody to walk with during that time, right? I remember when I used to compete for fitness, I always competed and had other women with me doing the whole process, because it's important to have support. It's important to have a sisterhood. It's important to have community, especially when you're struggling. And we're going to talk about that today, when it feels like God is absent. That's the theme for this week, is when God feels absent. And so last year, I really was feeling strongly that I wanted to start speaking about my faith. Good morning, Dreamweaver, and sharing my faith with anybody that would listen. And so I have been going live now since last year, talking about my faith and about the impact of my faith on my life, and going through scripture and basically just sharing. And it has been such a powerful and humbling experience for me, because I basically burned everything down and started over. And that takes courage. That takes confidence. It takes a knowing that no matter what happens, no matter who shows up, no matter how hard it seems, no matter how difficult it might be to get out of bed or to share something that you're not super familiar with, that you do it anyway. Because guys, I'm new to this. I haven't been doing faith ministry for a lifetime. I've really just been doing it since last fall. And it has felt daunting at times. It has felt intimidating at times, because it's not the language that I've always used. The language that I've used has most definitely been empowerment and supporting women. But to inject the faith ministry in there adds a whole new element and dimension to it. And sometimes I feel like a fish out of water. So if you're, here's something. So has anybody seen the Jelly Roll video, where it's on his social medias right now, where he talks about his fitness journey? I just did a reel about it. His first day of his fitness journey. It was really moving. So he had wanted to lose weight for years and years. And he said, I was lying to myself and I was lying to all of the people around me. He would say, tomorrow or next week, I'm gonna start. And then he wouldn't. And he said, I was really just letting myself down. And so he set a date for himself. Good morning, everybody. Thanks for joining and thanks for the hearts. He said, I was letting myself down. So he put a date in the calendar. And the day that he was going to go for his first walk, and he was a big boy, so this was going to be painful. It was going to be tiring. I know he had hired a fitness coach to work with him. And on that day, it poured rain, like just torrential downpour. And isn't that just the way that God works? When you make a commitment to something, 9 times out of 10, it's not going to feel easy. Haven't we all done that? Whether it was hitting live, whether it was leaving a relationship, whether it was saying to somebody, I love you, whether it was a fitness journey, whether it's quitting drinking or quitting smoking or whatever it is, we've all done it. Have we not? Put a heart in the comments. Put a heart in the comments if you can relate to Jelly Roll in this way, that you say you're gonna do something and you just keep putting it off and putting it off. So finally, he set a date to go for this walk, and like I said, it poured rain. And everybody around him said, you don't need to do it, it's okay, don't worry about it. You can put it off, wait till the rain stops, or wait till tomorrow. Or of course, that's what happens, so don't even worry about it. But see, he had been saying he was going to do it for so long that he knew that if he didn't do it, he would never do it. So he put on a very large raincoat. And if you go look at his social media, you'll see it, because I think he put it up last night. He put on a very large raincoat, and it looks like he had rain pants on. I'm not even sure. And he and his trainer went for a walk, and he did it. He did it despite the rain. He did it despite, good morning, Regan. He did it despite people saying, don't worry about it. He did it anyway. But what's so powerful is that he did it for himself. He didn't do it for other people. If he had done it for other people, he wouldn't have walked when everybody said, don't worry about it, because they would have supported him. But he did it for himself. He said, I had to stop lying to myself. I needed the transformation, and so I went. And it's the same. Good morning, Angel. It's the same. I feel like it's the same when it comes to the ministry. I didn't feel ready. And when I started these calls last year, when I started going live last year, I really had no idea what it was going to look like. And I knew that it was going to be speaking to a whole new community of people. I knew that the people that I used to speak to, a lot of them would not follow, a lot of them would not join. Because often, and I don't know why, but often, well, no, actually I do know why. Often the empowerment platforms for women and faith clash, because you might see in there feminism and patriarchy. And then there's biblical patriarchy that people will pull forward. And so often those two worlds collide, and they don't have to. See, the Bible is actually very supportive of women in ministry and very supportive of women using their voice and very supportive of women stepping forward. I mean, look at Mary Magdalene, right? I mean, we could use so many examples. However, that's what happened. And I had to build from the bottom up. And what I mean from the bottom up is I had to start over. And then recently, I had a community of 2,500 women and I closed it. And I just started closing things down. So I'm telling you this because this has been my journey. So for those of you who are new, or you're not new, but you know me as the Uncommon Woman, but it was more of the empowerment platform, just know that right now, I'm finding my way because I'm feeling really moved to bring the two together and prove to people that they do not have to be separate, that you can have an empowerment platform that is 100% faith-based. But women are still safe to come in and talk about their growth and use their voices and share their faith journey or get curious about their faith journey, and they're not going to be judged. So all of you who are here, thank you for joining. That's the long version of how we got here. That's the long version of who I am. So I have two companies. I have Uncommon Woman, which is a faith ministry and empowerment platform for women. And also I have Crush Coffee Co., which is a woman-owned, woman-empowering, woman-employing coffee company. And we empower and employ women from seed to sale, meaning that we buy our beans from women-owned collectives and farms, and women are the only ones that touch the beans as much as possible between the farm and the bag. Why do I say as much as possible? Because it's impossible for me to guarantee that no men's hands are on those beans. Now, that's not because I don't love men, because let me tell you, I love men. But it's because the coffee industry is male dominated. And one of the things that I'm really passionate about is bringing more wealth to the hands of women. How do we do that? We create avenues of opportunity. So when we buy our beans, thank you for the hearts and the flowers and all things. When we buy our beans from women-owned collectives, from women-owned coffee farms, what we're doing is we're employing women and we're putting money in the hands of women. See, the coffee industry is male dominated. It's 85% owned by men, which leaves 15% for women. And that's pretty crazy when you think about it. So I just wanted to share with you a little bit of who I am. So I have two companies. I'm a founder, I'm a coach, I'm a mentor, and I'm also somebody who's really passionate about Jesus and about ministry and about sharing the word and just bringing more women together. Okay, there you go. I know that that's a super long introduction, but whatever, doesn't matter. Okay, so I have to find my notes. So yesterday we started with when God feels absent. And I'm curious if anybody has recently felt like God was absent in your life. I know I have. There have been times recently when I've had to really dig deep and say, man, I'm feeling very alone. I'm feeling very like solo on this journey with you, Jesus. Where are you? Where are you right now in this moment? But see, what I've learned is that when I ask that question, I need to get closer to hear the answer. And what we often do, because it's our nature to, if we can't see it, it doesn't exist, right? Is that it's our nature to pull back and say, well, he must not be there. I don't hear anything. And I talked yesterday about a phone call I had with a friend and sister client of mine who has been going through something really challenging. And she said to me, I just feel like God's not here. And I said to her, the problem here is that you're exiting. He didn't exit. You're pulling away by you questioning, by you feeling like he's not there. And so you throw up your hands and you say, well, he's not there, therefore there's no point me communicating with him. Who's the one that's leaning back, God or us? So yesterday we looked at 3 things, and today we're going to continue. But yesterday we looked at faith believes God is working, even when we cannot see it. So that was point number 1. Faith believes God is working. Definition of faith, believing God is working, even when we can't see it. Number 2, faith continues to obey, even without immediate results. These are all what faith is. If we're constantly assuming that we have to have results that we want right now in order for God to be present, then we're mistaken. That we are actually breaking that tie with him. What he wants us to do is trust him. And then number 3 was faith chooses trust over feelings. You guys, don't we get up in our emotions? I'm angry. I'm frustrated. I feel alone. I'm sad. I'm tired. I'm scared. These are all emotions. And when we let our emotions lead, it's easy for us then to be blinded from our faith. So we have to remove the emotional charge that we get, and we have to go back to the Bible. We have to go back to God. We have to go back to our faith. And we have to remember that it's in those times that he actually calls us closer. And we talked about Jesus and how Jesus walked to the cross, walked to his crucifixion, carrying the cross. And then when he was on the cross, he says, Lord, why do you forsake me? You want to talk about feeling alone. You want to talk about feeling like you've been abandoned. Imagine how Jesus felt in those moments when he knew that he was going to have to experience something that was so excruciating and so horrifying after all the good works that he had done, all the people he'd healed. It didn't seem fair. It wasn't checks and balances, right? So imagine how he must have felt. But yet he stayed faithful. He was still forgiving people, even as he stood there on the cross. He was forgiving people. That's grace. That's faith. So today, point 4 is faith remains steadfast when God is silent. Silence often makes us question everything, but silence does not mean abandonment. You know, when I was talking to my girlfriend the other day and we were having this conversation, I said to her, have you ever thought that maybe his silence is so that you can speak? Have you ever thought that maybe God's silence is not the kind of silence that's an abandonment kind of silence, but it's the silence of keep talking. I'm giving you space to come in and pray. Have you ever sat down with somebody for a conversation and they didn't shut up? And you think to yourself, man, I just wish that they would be quiet so that I could share my feelings, so I could share what I'm going through. Well, let's look at it this way. What if God gets quiet when we're in pain because he's creating space for us to share? Isn't that a beautiful way of looking at the silence? But we're all so traumatized and we're all so used to instant gratification, right? If somebody texts us, if we text somebody and they don't text us back within 3 to 4 hours, we get really upset. We're like, where are they? What's going on? We're so used to people answering. We've set ourselves up in our society that silence is a bad thing. Maybe like when you're sitting with somebody and they're not saying anything, you say, are you okay? And they're like, yeah, I'm fine. I'm just relaxing. Like we want so much communication and we need people to be feeding us. We want God to be always feeding us answers. But here's the thing. He's creating healthy space for us to come closer. Here's an example from Jesus. On the cross, Jesus cried, my God, why have you forsaken me? And there was silence. This is one of the most human moments in Scripture. Jesus experienced what we experience every day. He experienced the silence. There's nothing after that that says that God came in and his voice was booming and said, my son, I have you covered. I'll see you soon. That's not silence. So if Jesus gets the silence of God, we certainly will too. The feeling that God was far away, the feeling that heaven was silent, is a feeling that we experience. Yet Jesus did not walk away, and he did not say, "You have abandoned me. I'm giving up my role. I'm giving up my faith. I'm tapping out." He had faith. You guys, we have to have faith in that silence. And what's really beautiful about this story, I don't know if you guys remember this, but I think it was for 3 days, the skies went black. See, God often shows his love in ways that we don't even see, in ways that we don't even expect. Remember? The skies went dark. He was there, but he was coming in his way. He was showing his love his way. So the invitation here is to open your mind and look around. Maybe he's not being silent. Maybe he's giving you the space that you need. Maybe he's giving you the opportunity that you need to reflect. Maybe he's calling you closer. He's a good father. He knows what he's doing. So what are you assuming about God because he's silent? Are you assuming that he's exited the building, that he doesn't care about your child, that he doesn't care about your financial situation, that he doesn't love you, that because you have sinned in the past, because you have, I don't know what your history is, but because you did something that was so terrible that you're getting an extra hard punishment? Have you ever thought that? Have you ever thought that maybe because you're a new Christian, or you still struggle with your thoughts, or you're self-sabotaging, that he's exited? No, that's not how it works. But we make assumptions about God because he doesn't operate like humans do. He doesn't answer us when we send a text. He doesn't need to. What would it look like to stay faithful in the painful season? So in the season where you feel like he's exited, what would it look like for you to stay? Let's paint the picture. Would it look like you being joyful and being grateful? Would it look like you praying more? Would it look like you saying to people, "I am so excited about this season," because some people might say that God is absent, or that, Jesus doesn't love me anymore. But I know that it's the opposite. I know he's proud of me despite the pain that I'm coming in. And so I'm going to share that with everybody. All we're doing is taking the opportunity and using it as testimony, using it as a way to reframe it. Do you know that when we talk goodness, when we talk love, when we talk faith, we actually start to believe it? Our brain doesn't know any different. So if we say that God has abandoned us and that's what we believe, and we allow ourselves to spiral, why do you think you go into a depression? Because your brain's like, okay, I'm on board. But on the same hand, if you say, this is a beautiful opportunity for me to come in and enrich my prayer life, come closer to God, read my Bible more, maybe have a meeting with my pastor or my mentor, or do more journaling, or do more good deeds, and not just sit around and navel gaze. If I look at this as an opportunity to come closer and do the work that he wants me to do, there will be a reward. And the reward could simply be peace. We think he's absent, but he's not. God's silence does not cancel God's presence. Okay, point number 5. The deepest faith is to surrender it all to God. That's the deepest form of faith, to say, God, I know you've got me. God, I know you've got the situation. God, I know that I'm covered. God, I know that you have a plan that will blow my ever-loving mind. And as long as I continue to be obedient, as long as I continue to listen, as long as I continue to say yes, as long as I listen to my intuition, which is your voice in my soul, into it, as long as I listen to you, I know that that is the greatest form of faith. The greatest compliment I could ever give you is to say yes to you, even when I don't understand, even when I feel alone, even when it's not clear, even when it's happened to me 1,000 times before, and this will be 1,001. Even then, I'm coming in. The highest form of faith is not getting what we want. That's not the highest form of faith. So it's interesting because so many believers talk about how faithful they are, but then they'll come right back around and say, thank you, aren't the nails fun? They'll come right back around and say, where is he? Have you ever noticed that? That we're all on board when all the good things are good. We have a baby, we get married, we get the job, or we're feeling healthy, or it's the cancer, the cancer screen is clear, or whatever it is. We're all on board. And our faith is so powerful. But then when we don't get what we want, when he doesn't give us what it is that we're asking for, we pull away. See, when we stay and we say, I'm not seeing it right now, but I know that you've got a plan. That's the greatest form of faith. And it's not cool for us to try to punish God. I'm just going to pull away. He doesn't deserve my tithing. He doesn't deserve my love. I'm going to stop sharing my testimony. I'm not even going to go live anymore. I'm going to stop doing my lives. I'm going to stop doing my ministry. I'm going to stop showing up. Really, who's the one that's suffering here? God's not suffering. He's like, I never left. You're leaving. Don't get all up in my face because you're saying that I left. You left, my child. You left. The highest form of faith is trusting God enough to surrender. So what can you surrender? Here's another example from Jesus. At the end of his life, Jesus spoke these words, Father, into your hands I commit my spirit. Okay, think about this. Even after the betrayal, even after all of the physical and emotional suffering, even after the silence when he said, my Lord, how did you forsake me? Even after the cross and everything that he went through, after all of that, he still said to God, I commit to you my spirit. Think about that. That means that after all of the human emotion that he might have felt, and maybe the lack of, the lack of understanding, he still committed his soul to God. So the invitation here for all of us is to remember that even when we think, thank you for the hearts on TikTok, you guys. I wonder if we can get to 10K before the end of this. It's 10:09. We've got 21 minutes. You guys work with me here. Just keep the hearts coming on TikTok. Even after all of that, Jesus still surrendered. So what does that tell us? What it tells us is that if Jesus can do it, and he went through one of the worst forms of absolute agonizing, painful death that there is out there, we can do it if we have a bad day. No? Who can commit to staying in the game with God even when they're having a bad day? Put commit in the comments. You guys, we have to commit to this. We have to say to ourselves, I commit. Otherwise, we won't. We have to make the commitment. We have to show up. Just like Jelly Roll showed up for his run in the rain. He's like, I'm doing it. There comes a time, there's a line between what you've always done and where you're going to be moving forward. And this is what we're talking about on the God's Girl guest call tomorrow. And by the way, tomorrow night at 7 p.m. Eastern Standard, there's a Zoom call open for everybody here. It's a free call And we're going to be talking about this, how to become the woman, how to awaken the woman that you are becoming. And you can go to romymarlowe.com, and if you go to my Uncommon Woman page on romymarlowe.com, in other words, go to romymarlowe.com, let the pop-up pop up, you enter Uncommon Woman, you scroll to the bottom, and there's something that says God Girl Gazette. If you sign up for that, you get all the information for the call, or my mods have the link, okay? Maybe I'll put it in my link tree so it's really easy. But here's what I'm telling you, that there's who you were before. Maybe you were always abandoning when things got hard, and there's who you are now, which is the woman who's gonna stick around, even when, maybe it gets better. Maybe we love God more when things get hard. Why? Because we know while he's working on us, he's working on that. And that's exciting, because things like this cafe. So I'm standing in the middle of Crush Cafe. Now it's not done yet. We're waiting for permits. There's all kinds of stuff I won't get into right now. But the fact that this showed up at a time when we needed it, at a time when our roaster had fired us because he saw us as competition, as a woman-owned coffee company. And then all of a sudden, out of nowhere, God shows up and said, I'm going to give you your own space so that you can put your own roaster in there. And do I not have a space that I'm now standing in that was given to us to build Crush Cafe and Roastery? Now, think about this. When my coffee roaster fired us and said, you guys are competition, my heart sunk, because we have to have a woman roaster for our beans. And there was a woman roaster in his roastery, and she was the only woman roaster in the city. And so when he fired us, he knew what he was doing. But God had a bigger plan. This is a great business story. This is why I want to combine faith and business. Because God had a bigger plan. And God was like, oh, no. We're going to put you in a position where this coffee company that supports women and empowers women from seed to sale will never be thrown under the bus by somebody else. So we're going to give you a space where you can build your own roastery. You guys, this was more of a 3 to 5 year plan. And it's happening now. And that's mind blowing. So as we speak, we are planning for, the cafe is already kind of, it's under construction, but anyway, but the roastery, that part we're starting to work on. We're starting to line up our ducks. So here's what's important. We think that God has left the building. I could have said, oh my God, what are you trying to do here? You're trying to make this difficult. But instead I went in closer, and does he not just say, thank you for having faith. Here's your own cafe and roastery. You guys, that's how I could have never imagined this. There's absolutely no way that I could have imagined that somebody would say, here's a space. There's no way. That's God. This is why I try to say to people, bring God into your business. Pray about your business. Pray over your business. And when things look in your business like they're falling apart at the seams, if you are being obedient, which I have been through this entire journey, if you are being obedient, everything that happens is working for you. God is he's in it, but you have to bring him in. You have to invite him in. I always say that Crush Coffee and Uncommon Woman are God-led. He has had his hands all over both of these businesses since the very beginning. And that is vital. If you want to build something, if you want to build a legacy business, if you want to build something that lasts, get God in there. Because he has the power to connect. He has the power to say, I'm going to put this person in your orbit so that there's a conversation that leads to what it is that you need. And it's going to blow your mind because you think that it's what you think you want this, but I'm going to give you what you actually need. And you guys, what we needed was a space where we can build our own roastery so that nobody can ever fire us, so that we will never be without beans, so that the women that we buy our beans from will never be without our support. Do you see how that works? Get closer. So Jesus entrusted everything to the Father. That is mature faith. When we say, I'm going to let you have all of it, That's mature faith. Mature faith is not certainty. Mature faith is not control. It's full surrender and trust. So what do I mean by mature faith? I mean faith that's real, faith that's deep, faith that, is like the palm tree. It bends, but it never breaks. That's mature faith. But when we say, oh, I'm a woman of faith, except for when things aren't going well, that's not mature faith. That's baby faith. That's, I'm upset right now at God, so I'm going to go over here and sulk in the corner. Instead of saying, I don't know what you're doing, but based on the history books, based on what I know that you do, I'm going to give it up to you because I'm ready for a miracle. I'm ready for what it is that you have, because this has been a little bit of a show. And I want more than anything for this to be the perfect journey. And the perfect journey is the journey that he plans, not the journey that we plan, right? What are you still trying to control? What part of your journey are you still controlling? What part of your journey are you still manipulating? What part of your journey are you still saying, yeah, but this part's for me. I'm going to work on this. I'll give everything else over to God, but this one I'm going to keep for me. Hi, Genevieve. Right? I shared the palm tree. You may bend, but you will never break with our recovery students yesterday. I love that. It is such a powerful analogy. And for those of you who don't know what it is, go to my YouTube channel. I've done like several videos on the palm tree. Where is God asking you to release? I'm just skimming over some of the questions that I have here, but I really want you to think about that. If you're tired, it's because you're gripping so hard. If you're tired, it's because you're not giving it up to God. You're carrying it all yourself. Faith reaches its deepest level when surrender becomes greater than fear. One of the greatest lies that the enemy whispers during seasons of silence is this: you're on your own. Remember, was it last week or the week before I said, oh, the devil loves a weak woman. The enemy loves a dark heart in a woman. Why? Because we try to control everything and we lose faith. I have to fix this filter. Okay, I'm committed today to getting rid of whatever filters on TikTok because my eyebrows are doing this weird thing. You guys see that? Oh, I don't know. I'm not good with TikTok, you guys. Sorry. So, what are you still trying to control? He wants you to isolate the enemy, the devil, the darkness. He wants you to isolate. Thank you, Ashley. I love you. He wants you to withdraw. He wants us to believe that because God feels distant, we should pull away from others too. Oh, you guys, is this not just the truth? Question: when you get angry, frustrated, afraid, when you start feeling really alone, do you isolate? Do you pull away from family? Do you start saying no to things like coffee dates? Do you get quiet on social media? Do you hide? You guys, that's what we're talking about. Isn't the devil sneaky? With the Uncommon Woman team, we've grown this really beautiful pod of women and Chris who support one another. And one of the things that the women have said about the Uncommon Woman sisterhood is that it has become the place where when they feel alone in their postpartum or in their breakup or in their family situation or in their financial stuff or in their business stuff or in their whatever, parenting stuff, that the space feels magical, that it feels supportive. And when we are in that space talking about what it is that we're going through and we feel supported, the really beautiful thing about that is that we get closer to God in those moments, right? Our faith is so strong in those moments. See, the enemy does not like that. He wants us to feel like we're alone so that we can be angry and resentful and start losing our faith and start questioning our belief system and start questioning God. And we stop talking about him. We start talking about the good works he's done in our lives because we're angry. It's not rocket science. It's easy to see. Faith reaches its deepest level when surrender becomes greater than fear. One of the greatest lies the enemy whispers during seasons of silence is this: you're on your own. He wants us to isolate. He wants us to withdraw. He wants us to believe that because God feels distant, we should pull away from others too. But here's the thing: God never designed us to carry difficult seasons alone. When Jesus faced the darkest hours of his life, he wasn't surrounded by strangers. He was surrounded by those closest to him. Listen to that. He invited Peter, James, and John into the Garden of Gethsemane. Even Jesus desired the presence of trusted companions in his moments of deepest anguish. Why? Because there are seasons when your faith is strong enough to carry others, and there are seasons when you need others to carry you. That is the beauty of sisterhood. There will be moments when you cannot hear God's voice clearly, but a sister can remind you of what God has already spoken. There will be moments when your prayers feel weak, but a sister can pray strength over you, and that's what we do at Uncommon Woman Sisterhood. There will be moments when your hope feels fragile, but a sister can hold hope for you until you can hold it again for yourself. There will be moments when you feel forgotten, but a sister can remind you that you are seen, loved, chosen, and never abandoned. This is why sisterhood matters. Not because life is always easy, but because life is not always easy. Faith was never meant to be a solo journey. God created community so that when one woman is weary, listen to this, another woman can help lift her up. Oh, this is so good. As scripture reminds us, two are better than one. If either of them falls, one can help the other up. But woe is that person who falls and has nobody to lift them up. That's Ecclesiastes 4, verses 9 and 10. Maybe right now you are a woman or a man whose faith feels strong. Put a heart in the comments if right now your faith feels strong. But if it doesn't, just wait. Then be the encourager. Be the prayer warrior. Be the reminder. Be the light. Thank you for the hearts, TikTok. Or maybe right now you are the woman who feels tired. Put a 1 in the comments if you feel tired. Maybe you've been waiting. Maybe you've been praying. Maybe you're wondering where God is. Let your sisters stand beside you. Let them remind you of the truth when your emotions are telling you something different. We got to get out of our emotions. We have to stop allowing our emotions to run our lives. Sometimes God's answer to our prayers doesn't arrive as a miracle. Sometimes it arrives as community, as support. A text message, a call, a prayer, a hug. I'm a hugger. A conversation, a community of women who refuse to let you quit. A community is one of God's most beautiful gifts. When his voice seems quiet, he often speaks through his people. You guys, 2 is better than 1. We are wired for community. God wants us in community. If you're not in community, you need to be in community. It's so important. So if God feels silent today, don't isolate. Lean in. Reach out. Stay connected. I see you, Anita. I got you, girl. The women beside you may be the very evidence that God has been with you all along. And one day, when the season has passed, your testimony will become the strength another woman needs to keep going. That is faith. That is sisterhood. That is how we rise as uncommon women. Listen, get in the room. You are not supposed to do this alone. Uncommon Woman Sisterhood is a space for women who feel alone. It's a space for women who are God-led. It's a space for women who are growing in Christ. It's a space for women who are rising. It's a space for women who want sisterhood. Get in the room. Go to RomieMarlowe.com. If you enter June 10, all caps, in the coupon code, you save $10. It's $19 for the month. We are meeting tomorrow night at 7 p.m. Eastern Standard for God's Girl Guest Call. Everyone is welcome. Every single one of you is welcome to join if you're a woman. And tomorrow, the God's Girl Guest Call is going to be all about becoming the woman and having the faith that you need to have so that you can carry the woman that you want to be, so that you can carry the business, so that you can carry the relationship, so that you can carry the money, so that you can carry the independence. So many women want to be independent, strong women, yet their faith is low and they don't have any friendship. They have no friends. And if you don't have friends, I don't care what you say, you will struggle. God does not want us to do life alone. Jesus didn't do life alone. It is not strong or valiant to say, I don't need anybody, because that's actually not what he wants us to do. He tells us, get in community with other Christians, get in community with other women or men or people who believe what you believe, because if you fall, who's going to pick you up? And when you fall, what he's worried about is that the devil will pick you up, that you'll go back into your addiction, that you go back into the toxic relationship, that you'll reach out to the people who put you there in the first place. So go to RomieMarlowe.com and join us. We meet a few times a month on Zoom, and we have really deep, loving conversations. We have a community of women who are committed to God and committed to their friendships. And the friendships move quickly. Why? Because we have God in common. We trust one another. We share our faith. We pray for one another. How can you not have quick growth in relationships when you have that kind of commitment in the room? Thank you for all the hearts, everybody. We're at 8,500 hearts on TikTok. What if we got to 10 before this was over? I love you guys so much. So how do you get into the God's Girl guest call? How do you become part of that call tomorrow night? It's an hour. It's from 7 p.m. to 8 p.m. I'm going to be talking to women and supporting women as they step into the woman that they're becoming. So the moderators have the link. They'll put it in the comments. You might just have to copy paste it and put it into your browser. If you're on Facebook or Instagram, if you're on Facebook, you can probably just click and go. If you're on Instagram, you probably have to copy paste it. But get in the room. It's free. And you might find a new friend. You might find new community. You might find that you know people. You might find that you have all of this stuff in common. You might find that you're home. You might find that you're home. I've been building communities of women since I started my gym back in 2012. But this space is curated in such a way that it's safe and it's protected and it's loving. There's no gossip. And if there is, it doesn't happen when I'm listening. That is not acceptable. There's also no going down. We carry one another. We hold one another. We show up for one another. We do things for each other. And we make time for each other. We pray over each other. We do things that you don't do in normal relationships. Get in that room. Everybody needs that. You never know what you need until you have it. And then you go, oh my gosh, I didn't know that I needed this. And the women who are in the community, many of them are on the call right now. And they are so committed to one another. It's so beautiful to see that when somebody's struggling, there's always somebody else there. If I'm not available, somebody is. And that's really, yay, we're almost there. TikTok, thank you. You can do $150 for 6 months within the Uncommon Woman Sisterhood, which means you commit for 6 months. That's a beautiful gift to yourself for your birthday. Buy it for a sister, buy it for a friend, buy it for yourself, or you can do month to month and you can leave it anytime. It's not like Hotel California. Okay? So thank you everybody for joining. This was so amazing. I'm here every Monday through Friday from 9:30 to 10:30, and we go live on Facebook, TikTok, and Instagram. And I love you guys so much. I'm so grateful. Hey, Pink. Pink slept through the whole thing, or we made 10K. Yay! I love you guys. Thank you so much, TikTok. I love you guys so much. I'm so grateful for you. I hope you have an incredible day. Thank you to my Uncommon Woman hosts for being such beautiful, supportive people to me and to one another and supporting this ministry as we grow. Because it's not easy. It's not easy. But we're not doing it because it's easy. We're doing it because I was called, and so here we are. So I'll see you guys tomorrow, and go to the link tree if you want to buy any of our hats or t-shirts or tank tops, or DM me if you have any questions. I love you. I honor you. Stay uncommon. And me and Pink will see you guys tomorrow. Maybe I'll bring her back. Should I bring her back tomorrow? Say bye, Pink. Should I bring her back tomorrow? Hi, Anna. She was a good girl. I think I'll bring her back tomorrow. I'll dress her up. Okay? Dress her up in one of her things. I'll bring her back. Okay. I love you guys. Don't forget to like, follow, share, all you newbies. Have a great day. Bye. Say bye, Pink. Say bye, Pink. Say bye-bye. Bye-bye, everybody. Oh my goodness, she's so tired. Bye, everybody. See ya.